Good afternoon and welcome to our special committee of the whole meeting for today, Monday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. We've got amendments to the agenda first up. Any amendments to propose? Seeing none, any disclosure of monetary interest? And we'll get CAO Morris to do a roll call of staff before we get into our main meeting.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we have a cross section of staff with us this evening, starting with Art Manhire. We have Carrie Costello here, Jennifer Miller, Carl Grenke, Janet Kozil, and Troy Dunlop, and Nadine Bennett here is here as well. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So in addition to a full slate of council, we've got our two student counselors as well. I know we're waiting for a delegation. I'm not sure that it's arrived yet, so maybe we'll skip to adoption or CAO directors reports if I'm not seeing anybody. So yeah, let's CAO Morris.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one quick one this evening. I'm delighted to announce that the town's 2020 annual report has been finalized. And it will be available tomorrow on the town website, as well as through social media. We'll be issuing a press release. We will have a limited number of hard copies, so for those members of council that wish to keep one perhaps by their bedside stand, we will have those available upon request. And I can tell you it's a very pleasing 30 roughly pages of a nice combination of text and pictures as well. We have a lot of beautiful images in the report this year. And we have a great mayor's message. I provided an update on strategic plan progress, and each department has reported on their successes in 2020 as well. So all in all, it's an easy read, but packed full of information, and it'll be available tomorrow.
Great, looking forward to seeing that one. Any questions for CAO Morris? Seeing none, we'll move on to priority issue 8.1, Daniel Street closure with Director Costello.
Thank you. This won't be very long. Just to inform council that we gave notice of council's intent to pass a bylaw to close the section of Daniel Street located between Beckwith Street North and Elmsley Street North. We gave that notice through the EMC, through social media, as well as the town's website. And there were no comments received and no one registered to participate in the meeting this evening to make any comments. To that end, I believe that Nadine has a bylaw on council's agenda this evening to officially stop up and close that portion of Daniel Street. And then work will commence between our Public Works Department and Community Services to incorporate that into part of the town square project.
Excellent, that's great news. Any questions or comments on Councillor Brennan?
No, yeah, of course, I'm going to support that, but just on timing, when people want to know when that's going to be not open to traffic.
I believe, Councillor Brennan, that they wanted to put concrete barriers in place immediately after passage of the bylaw. I believe that's what Director Manhire and Director Dunlop have in store.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Great, Councillor Allen.
I just would add that Rio has been advertising, and there are a number of us that are going to take part in a DPAVE day, and it was supposed to be coming up, but it's been postponed. I was just trying to find the date. I think it's been tentatively postponed till the 20th, I believe. I just can't find it right now, but just so people know, it's not this week because it was coming up, and because of the lockdown, it's not going to be able to happen.
Thanks, Councillor Allen. Did anybody else have any comments, questions? Seeing none, I'm wondering, Deputy Clerk Bennett, is it better to do a brief recess while our delegation gets loaded, or should we move on to adjournment?
I'm just checking my email. I do not see anything from the delegate. I've emailed them a couple times with the details, so I'm not sure what the issue is. We could, if council wishes, we could recess quickly and I could call them if you like. It's up to the chair to make that decision.
Okay, have we heard from them today, Councillor McKenna? See you shaking your head, Councillor.
Well, no, they asked to come here. They're not here, I understand. We've not heard from them. I'm not interested in a recess. We move
Okay.
forward.
They're just coming on now. I see their
Right.
pictures showing up there now.
Right.
Ken? Yeah,
Mr. Chair, you may want to, I believe that they're on there. If maybe we could have them turn on their camera.
Okay, great. Well, welcome, Andrew and Ken. We've got next in the agenda, it's 8. and,
sorry about that. Difficulties here.
But so 5:08, 10 minutes, and you can begin now.
Okay. Okay, well, yeah, thank you for giving us a minute here. I wanted to, well, thank council and mayor and staff for all the work on this. There was we didn't have a chance to say anything at the last week's meeting, and a lot of kind words. But the issue now, it's been a long haul, and we've got a lot of money sunk in here, and the banks, everybody's looking at me going, okay, what's going on with the taxes? Is this going to be approved? Is it not? I mean, it's nobody can pin down a number or value of the building without this thing being finalized. So there was a lot of support, but then, well, we can't make a decision last week, which left me with a little bit of angst because they have no direction. We just have the money spent. It's coming very nicely. It's going to be fantastic. We've got a few details to finish up, especially on the exterior, but the interior is occupied. We've got our occupancy certificates, except for the front commercial space, which is planned to be completed by June 1st or hopefully before. And then the exterior work, a few details. Well, we really need the council's support to get this approved so we can pin down a number and move forward with getting some financing in place, because right now it's pretty much mostly all out of pocket. So that was all I had to say on that subject.
Yeah,
Ken?
and I'll chime in. I mean, the way back in 2017, when we had to take a decision on what do we do with this building, are we interested in it or not? I know that the town approached us saying, you know what, or we approached the town saying, oh, hey, we have this CIP program that we would really love to keep this building intact. There'd be certain requirements that you guys have to do in order to do this. And so we've faithfully executed all those requirements. The requirements are preserve the heritage features of the building, preserve the appearance of the windows, repair everything that they asked us to do as part of this program, we have faithfully done. If this program wasn't in place, would we have done the same? Probably not. So I'd just like to say that, that we felt very confident going into this, that we'd have this support. I know Nikki Dwyer back in 2017 wrote a great script on this whole thing of why this is important for the town, and we bought into it. And so now we need to, with the rehabilitation almost complete. I know that a part of her presentation back in 2017, that she felt that the proposed rehabilitation of, I'm reading from her script, will promote long-term economic viability in addition to greatly improving the quality of the downtown core. Ideally, this project would serve as a successful model for future program 4. Further interest in large-scale redevelopment of Smith Falls. So we went into this expecting actually the support of this 10-year program, knowing when you take on a heritage building, when you take on something to restore it, you don't know what you're going to run into. And let me tell you, we ran into a lot more than we expected. But we kept true to what the CIP grant would involve, and that is to preserve the building and the appearance of the building. We had windows specially made. We didn't go to, I think we've gone to great lengths actually just doing what we should have done. And so now we're sitting here, as Andrew said, really counting on the support of council for this 10-year program. And I know that we had the part of the thing back in 2017 was, what about an impact? So we did, under Gary Smith when he was there, he went after impact, and they sent us back an assessment of impact in 2017, which I guess no one maybe is aware of, or maybe if they are, it's being, discounted in some way. But anyway, that's really what we have to say. It's been a pleasure doing the project in its own way to see it come to life, to see it restored, and people are very thrilled with it. We spent a lot of extra money doing this, and believe me, there's a few times, that we say we're into this project, we just take a wrecking ball, knowing what we had to press forward with. And the choice was Parkview decided, let's see this to its finish. And so hopefully the council now can look at this as being, we have faithfully executed. We've done everything that that this program has asked us to do, and we're just asking for the support. And I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Andrew and
Okay.
Ken. Is there any questions for the delegation? No. So, yep, seeing no questions or comments, we've got, if there's anything that we wish to add to a future COW, that can be requested, but if not, we will move on to adjournment. Mayor Penko?
Gentlemen, thank you for coming this afternoon, and I guess certainly explaining your thoughts and going back to 2017. I mean, there are a number of us who were around at that time, and I think it was an implied commitment from the previous council that we would pursue the possibilities of Program 4. And so as of last week, I think we went back to staff asking for further clarity on a couple of items, which I believe this will be coming forward at a future committee of the whole. And as I mentioned last week, I think everyone mentioned last week, we absolutely treasure this building, and we're very grateful for the commitment you made to preserve it and enhance it and bring it to its original glory. And obviously, without that commitment, we're not sure what state that would be in today. Probably not good. And it is probably one of our most treasured heritage buildings in our downtown, and probably the most prominent considering location. So we certainly respect the work that's happened. We're grateful for your commitment. And I think right now we need a couple of answers from staff when this comes back. But I think there's definitely an interest in trying to resolve this as quickly as possible for the benefit of everyone involved, of course, respecting yourselves as well as understanding you need some understanding of as to what this will be. So I expect we will see something coming back from staff in the very near future. I don't know if CAO Morris is able to comment further on that when he expects to return with further information, but we will certainly do what we can to move this through the process as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
CEO Morris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So at this point, we really need to work with MPAC to come up with the value and the classification and a few other pieces of information. So right now we're focusing our efforts on the things we can control, and that is the building inspections and issuance of occupancy permits as the units become ready. I believe several have been issued already. There's several more to go. So that's our focus right now, working with Parkview to get that done, and that will be the trigger for MPAC to do their work. Once they do their work, we'll come back with a value that MPAC has placed on the property, then a committee can have a discussion about what we do with that information. So, so there is a process. We're on it. It's a matter of priority, and we'll be back as soon as we have the information to help inform your decision.
All right, Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, just thank you guys for coming, and you know, I think the mayor said it well about the value of the building to the community, but just to give you some heart in the council meeting to follow, we are going to be passing a motion supporting the program for in principle, and then we'll get those questions asked for you and get back to you as soon as possible. But we are going to support it in a motion tonight in principle.
Thank you.
Councillor Alford and then Mayor Panko.
Yes, I'm like everyone else, echo the appreciation that we have for Parkview to restore this. Mr. Shelley mentioned an MPAC assessment that they received that he felt was, I'm not sure what the intimation was there, but I'm sure that Mr. Shelley would provide that to staff to make sure that if there is something that council hasn't seen yet, with regard to this issue, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Sure.
Okay. Can I answer that?
Sure, you have a clarification on that one?
Yeah, back in 2017, after this report was presented, obviously one of the key things was about, okay, what will MPAC say about it? Because this report came out in March. Oh no, what date was that? Nikki did a report. In any case, subsequent to this report, which came out in May of 2017, we did go to MPAC to say, could you give us an approximate valuation? And this was done through Gary Smith, the interim planner at the time. And on August 3rd, we did get a response back from MPAC about how they saw the property being, and rounding out the assessment to an estimated assessment of 2.847 million. That was back in 2017. So my understanding was once they had the MPAC, that's what they're waiting for. But I guess it just, time went on and it didn't seem to have the effect that we hoped it would have, which is something to come to a decision. So that's all I'm saying about that.
Okay, well, thanks for that information, Ken.
Okay.
All right, Mayor Panko, and then we'll wrap it up.
Gentlemen, just for the benefit of the community who may be watching or tuning in tonight, there's been some exciting developments happen in the last couple of weeks with the Rideau Hotel. I wonder if you're in a position to share some of this information at this stage.
Yeah, I think, yeah, sorry, are you addressing it to us, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
You mean in filling the building?
Yes.
Well, we've fitted up a model suite a few months ago, and then we've been marketing and promoting the building to lease up the suites as we're wrapping up construction. And we had several of them filled up, and then we had recently a group out of Toronto. They do long-term and so medium-term short rentals, and they've come up and they've signed a lease at full ask price to take the building. They wanted it for 5 years, and we agreed to give it to them for 3 years. We signed individual residential leases for them, and they've brought furniture in last week, and they're outfitting the rooms, and I believe all the residential units have occupancy at this time, and our keys were turned over to them on Friday. So it was very exciting for us, and we think this is going to have a great effect in the downtown core.
Thank you.
And we also have C2 Bakery that's going to move into the front space there onto the Beckwith Street in the commercial space, and they're putting in a beautiful bakery outlet, some little bit of seating there and things like that. So it's that's going to open up hopefully by June 1st, and they'll be ready to go there. So we're really excited about the way the building's filled up with the particular tenants we have, and we look forward to the days ahead with this.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Great, that's really exciting news. CEO Morris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the purposes of clarity, I just want everyone to understand that the MPAC work that was done in 2017 was purely an estimation of what the value would be. Naturally, MPAC can't come up with a final, what they call a CVA, current evaluation, until the building is finished. And as we know, the building's gone through some iterations and some changes. So the catalyst for that current value assessment is the occupancy permit. So that's the point we're at now. So just to be clear, the one from 2017 was merely an estimate to give an order of magnitude.
That's correct. Yeah, because that's 2017, we're looking at an empty building. Just falling down.
Correct. So it was very difficult to estimate the final value of that building in 2017.
Great. And I've just got one last question before we adjourn, and it's how critical is Program 1 to the success of this project for you guys?
Was it critical? It wasn't really. I mean, the Historical Society asked us if we could put in steel railings. I said, well, that's going to cost, that's extra we haven't budgeted for. They said, well, could you do it? I said, yes. And so we applied. But if Program 1 is in any way in conflict with Program 4, we gladly step outside of Program 1. Because that was a $10,000 grant, which we certainly appreciate and we can obviously make use of. But if it any way conflicts with Program 4, we gladly step aside and say we'll walk from that. That's for sure. If that was required, if someone felt that was a requirement.
Thank you. So I'm not seeing any further questions or comments. I know I'm really excited to be sponsoring the Program 4 approval in principle at the council meeting later, but with that, we will, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Brennan. All those in favor? So we are adjourned at 5:24 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to this regular meeting of Smith Falls Town Council for Monday, May 3rd. I've got a few proclamations this evening, so please bear with me while I go through them. First one is Mental Health Week 2021. Whereas mental health is an essential part of everyone's health and well-being, and whereas Mental Health Week has been hosted by the Canadian Mental Health Association in communities across Canada for 69 years. Whereas all people in Canada need to promote, protect, and nurture their mental health. And whereas promoting social connection is an important aspect of human life and an effective way to protect mental health. Whereas in these days of the COVID-19 pandemic, our community members may be experiencing further difficulties maintaining their mental health. And whereas in these days of social distancing, we as a community are experiencing great challenges to maintaining our social connections. Whereas municipality of Smith Falls has a responsibility to promote mental wellness, particularly at this time of increased social distancing and social isolation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, hereby proclaims this week of May 3rd to May 9th, 2021 as Mental Health Week in the Town of Smith Falls. And I encourage all citizens to join me in underlining the importance of social connection for mental health. Second proclamation is Drinking Water Week 2021. Whereas water is our most valuable natural resource, whereas only tap water delivers public health protection, fire protection, support for our economy, and the quality of life we enjoy. And whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to access to safe water. Whereas we are all stewards of our water infrastructure upon which future generations depend. Whereas each citizen of our town is called upon to help protect our source waters from pollution, to practice water conservation, and to get involved in local water issues by getting to know their water. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, I do hereby proclaim May 2nd to 8th, 2021 as Drinking Water Week. This is also Emergency Preparedness Week 2021. Whereas Emergency Preparedness Week is an annual event that occurs during the first full week of May. And whereas this public awareness initiative has taken place since 1996 and is a collaborative effort undertaken by provincial and territorial emergency management organizations supporting activities at the local level in conjunction with Public Safety Canada and partners. Whereas the goal of Emergency Preparedness Week is to raise community awareness and to take the following steps to better prepare to face a range of emergencies. 1, know the risks. 2, make a plan, and 3, prepare an emergency kit. Whereas the safety of our community is a responsibility of each and every one of us, we must prepare now for the safe and healthy tomorrow. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, do hereby proclaim May 2nd to 8th, 2021 as Emergency Preparedness Week in the Town of Smith Falls, and urge all residents to gain a better understanding of the need to prepare for the possibility of an emergency by knowing the risks, making a plan, and creating an emergency kit. Also want to recognize the Red Dress Project, which is May 8th. The Red Dress Project focuses around the issue of missing or murdered Aboriginal women across Canada. It is an installation art project based on an aesthetic response to this critical national issue. The project has been installed in public spaces throughout Canada and the United States as a visual reminder of the staggering number of women who are no longer with us. Local resident Flora Riley, and Flora, I believe you're watching tonight, welcome, has previously attended a council meeting as a delegation. Flora will be hanging red dresses on her property on May 8th to honor her sister on her birthday. Flora's sister was murdered 3 weeks before her 24th birthday. The color red was chosen as a way to unite the spirit of the cause, as a chance to call them back, to be among us, and to hear their voices again. Red represents their life's blood that has been tragically spilled. The Red Dress Project is part of a Canada-wide art installation that represents over 1,200 missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And you'll notice tonight, many members of council are wearing, or all members of council, red in some way, whether it be a red tie, red shirt, red dress, and Councillor Allen, of course, has a red dress hanging behind her. So we honor Red Dress Project tonight, and thank you, Flora Riley, for again bringing this to the council chambers, and for enabling us to share this with the community. And finally, I believe we have one amendment to the agenda. I'm going to return to Deputy Clerk Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor Panko. Tonight, we'd like to defer bylaw 7.5 That is the bylaw with respect to the Ivy grant. It will be deferred to a future council meeting. And just a note that bylaw 7.7 has been added tonight. That's the bylaw to stop up and close Daniel Street. It's been added to the end of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. I will ask for disclosure of monetary interest. I see none. We know delegations. We do have adoption of minutes, which is with Councillor Brennan, please.
Frozen.
You're okay at this end?
Okay, good. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Allen, that the minutes of the April 6, 2021 meeting be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, second by Councillor Allen, that the minutes of the April 6, 2021 council meeting be approved as circulated. All in favor? That's carried. Reports. I'm just going to look for hands up. Yes, Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have been keeping council up to date on the 3 special meetings of the Community Services Committee of Lanark County regarding the housing crisis. Mayor Panko and I have been attending all 3 of those. The wrap-up meeting was held last Wednesday. The committee heard from 6 delegations, everything from the Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, the Lanark County Community Action Network, and Carebridge Community Support, as well as others. If there was a theme in the delegations, it was our way out of this housing crisis is through partnerships, and partnerships at the federal, provincial, county, lower tier, not-for-profit, and community sector is the only way we're going to mitigate the impact of that. The committee recommended to County Council that the county take the lead in developing a county-wide housing plan, which would include the town of Smiths Falls. All of the stakeholders would contribute to the plan, as well as they're really encouraging members of the public to contribute to the development of the plan. So stay tuned for opportunities over the summer and into the fall to contribute to the plan. The plan final recommendations are to be very, very specific to Lanark County as a whole, but they will also, understanding that we're not all the same in Lanark County, they're going to have recommendations specific, for example, for the town of Carleton Place or the town of Smiths Falls as it pertains to them. This work, as I mentioned, will be completed in 2021, and Mayor Panko offered to share the Smiths Falls Housing Task Force report, and that was welcomed by the committee and by the county. So stay tuned. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor McKenna. Further reports? Go by hand, Councillor McGuire, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank members of our Smiths Falls Police Service. On Wednesday, April 21st, Smiths Falls Police responded to a call of a male pointing a gun at motorists on Queen Street. The officers that responded were able to de-escalate the situation and take the suspect into custody without anybody getting injured, and everybody was able to stay safe. So I'd like to thank Constable Paul Klassen, Constable Brent Hallett, and Michaela Blackburn, our civilian dispatcher, that were involved in that call. I think these kind of calls make the news for all the wrong reasons these days. So it's really a great opportunity to thank our service for the professionalism that was shown a couple of weeks ago on Queen Street.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else with a report? No, that's fine. I've got a few, but I'll bypass mine for another meeting. We'll move directly into our bylaws. We have a number of bylaws this evening. Our first is with Councillor Alford, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to lift part lot control respecting the lands described as blocks 2, 3, 11, 12, and 14 of the registered plan 27M-83 be received and read a first time and taken read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna. The bylaw to lift part lot control respecting the lands described as blocks 2, 3, 11, 12, and 14 of registered plan 27M-83 be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Alford?
Yes, your worship, these blocks are singles and 2.5-story townhouses in the Bellamy Farm subdivision. And this will allow each property to be individually freeheld. Lifting part lock control is the final step that will allow occupancy for the new owners, pending final inspections.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? May I have a third reading, please?
Yeah, sure. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to lift part lot control respecting the lands described as block 2, 3, 11, 12, and 14 of Registered Plan 27M-83 be received and read, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10234-2021.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Alford, second by Councillor McKenna, that a bylaw to lift part lot control respecting the lands described as blocks 2, 3, 11, 12, and 14 Registered Plan 27M-83 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10234-2021. All in favor? That's carried. And Councillor McGuire, you have the next bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer that a bylaw to authorize execution of a loan renewal agreement with the Royal Bank of Canada respecting the long-term financing requirements associated with construction of the Memorial Centre / Youth Arena be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a loan renewal agreement with the Royal Bank of Canada respecting the long-term financing requirements associated with the construction of the Memorial Centre / Youth Arena be received, read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? It's carried. Discussion, Councillor McGuire?
So we still owe just over 3 million on the arena project that was from previous council, and it's going to be amortized over 15 more years. So our treasurer, Janet Quazil, has found us a competitive rate, and we're going to lock that in until the next term of council can look at it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? And overall, Councillor McGuire, do you have it creates an annual cost savings? I don't have the number in front of me, around $35,000, I believe.
Yeah, I believe. So I have it up here if I can find it. Approximately $30,000 per year we're going to save with the lower interest rates. So great work on behalf of the town.
Very positive. Thank you. I mean, a third reading, please.
All right, so moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer that a bylaw to authorize execution of a loan renewal agreement with the Royal Bank of Canada respecting the long-term financing requirements associated with the construction of the Memorial Centre / Youth Arena be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10235-2021.
Thank you. Moving Councillor McGuire, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a loan renewal agreement with the Royal Bank of Canada respecting the long-term financing requirements associated with the construction of the Memorial Centre / Youth Arena be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10235-2021. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Allen, you have our next bylaw.
Yes, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer that a bylaw to authorize execution of a community improvement plan funding agreement, Program 1, with Parkview Homes respecting the property, municipally known as 20 Beckwith Street North, be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a community improvement plan funding agreement in brackets Program 1 with Parkview Homes respecting the property municipally known as 20 Beckwith Street North be received read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? It's carried. Discussion, Councillor Allen?
Yes, under the Community Improvement Plan Program, Program 1 deals with facades, landscapes, and signage improvement. In this particular case, Parkview has come to Municipal Heritage Committee as well as the Accessibility Committee to talk about replacing what was going to be wooden railings on the balconies and on the ramp that's going to be at the side to make the building accessible. Now with a black steel railing, and the Municipal Heritage, to quote them, said that they felt it was more heritage sympathetic. So we're appreciative of that. The total cost is was going to be $24,100, and the CIP will be granting $10,000 of that amount.
Thank you. Further discussion, Councillor McGuire.
Thanks, Your Worship. I agree with everything that Councillor Ellen said. Unfortunately, I've got to vote against this one, and I'd like to ask for a recorded vote. I'm just going to take a few seconds to explain why, because I think on the surface it sounds like a really good thing. I think at Parkview was, when Parkview started this project, the first tool they used was a sledgehammer. And if that was the only tool they used throughout the whole project, it would be reckless. The CIP program has 6 different outlets to it. So the first one is the facade, landscape, and signage improvement. The second is building restoration, renovation, maximum of $20,000. The third is planning fees and building permit grants. The fourth is a tax-based redevelopment grant, which is also on tonight's council agenda. And then 5 and 6 are both associated with environmental site assessments and environmental remediation tax assistance. Section 6.1 of the CIP plan notes that all programs should not be used for a similar project, and they need to be used discriminately to make sure that we're getting value for our money. I think with the program 4, we're looking at a high 6-figure, maybe even a 7-figure ask, and this $10,000 is going to significantly impact the number of projects we can take on this year, depleting our funds by about 20%. So even though I'm fully supportive of what Ken and Andrew are doing at the hotel, and I'm looking to see them get a big tax grant under program 4, I just don't believe program 1 is the best tool today.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor Panko. Can I ask a point of clarity? Because I put this up in the line of questioning that Councillor McGuire asked earlier in committee of the whole tonight. But can staff comment on whether or not council approving program 1 is going to in any way inhibit the developer's ability to proceed with funding through program 4? I'd like to know that very definitively.
I'll turn to staff for an answer. C.A. Morris.
Yes, Your Worship. My read on it is there are 2 entirely different objectives between program 1 and program 4. So, I mean, that question, I don't know if it came up at the CIP committee, but from staff's perspective, they're 2 different applications, and I don't think one has a bearing on the other. Now, having said that, it's ultimately council's decision to approve those 2 programs. But from an administrative point of view, I don't see them conflicting with each other.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, I'll read the question and turn to Deputy Clerk Bennett for the recorded vote. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a community improvement plan funding agreement in brackets program 1 with Parkview Homes respecting the property municipally known as 20 Becker Street North, brackets bylaw 10236-2021, be now read a 3rd time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10236-2021. Recorded vote has been requested.
With respect to bylaw 10236-2021, please state yay or nay. Councillor Alfred?
Nay.
Councillor Allen?
Yay.
Councillor Brennan?
Yay.
Councillor Dwyer?
Yay.
Councillor McGuire?
Nay.
Councillor McKenna?
Yay.
Mayor Panko?
Yay.
This motion is carried.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.4, Councillor McKenna, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Alfred, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 10184-2020, being a bylaw to authorize execution of a funding agreement with the Ministry of Transportation respecting the Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program, be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McKenna, second by Councillor Alfred. The bylaw to amend bylaw 10184-2020, being a bylaw to authorize execution of a funding agreement with the Ministry of Transportation respecting the Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program, be received for the first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor McKenna?
Yes, we had previously applied to use this grant to enhance trails along the Lower Reach Park. That, however, did not come to fruition. So rather than let the grant go by, the municipality has reapplied to the ministry and have been granted the authority to use that grant for more active transportation and our master plan coming up, and it will be spent before the end of 2021.
Thank you. Any further discussion? No. It's moved by Councillor McKenna, second by Councillor Alford, that a bylaw to amend bylaw 10184-2020, being a bylaw to authorize execution of a funding agreement with the Ministry of Transportation respecting the Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program, be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10237-2021. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. 7.6 with Councillor Allen, please.
Yes, bylaw recommended by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on the 6th and 19th days of April 2021 be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council as meetings on the 6th and 19th days of April 2021 be received for the first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Allen?
Yeah, all of our council proceedings are brought to council as a housekeeping item, but we usually do a number at a time, and tonight we did two.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? May I have the third reading, please?
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings on the 6th and 19th days of April 2021 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10239-2021.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council's meetings held on the 6th and 19th days of April 2021 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10239-2021. But I see Deputy Clerk Bennett with her hand up. I'll turn to Nadine.
Hello, Council. Sorry to interrupt. I tried to get the messaging out. We had to renumber those bylaws just because the one was removed. So if we could read that bylaw to confirm the proceedings would be read as 10238-2021.
With consent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll simply reread it. Moved by Councillor Allen, second by Councillor Dwyer, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meetings held on the 6th and 19th days of April 2021 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10238-2021. All in favor? That's carried. And our final bylaw is with Councillor Dwyer, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Allen, that a bylaw to stop up and close the section of Daniel Street between Beckwith Street North and Elmsley Street North be received and read a first time and taken and read a second time.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Allen. The bylaw to stop up and close a section of Daniel Street between Beckwith Street North and Elmsley Street North be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? That's carried. Discussion, Councillor Dwyer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a very exciting project, one that's been on the books for quite some time. It was originally envisioned through the Downtown Revitalization Master Plan and later brought to design fruition through the design of the new town square that's going to be located between the old schoolhouse and the library. Part of that project will include the construction of a gazebo in memory of Tom and Pat Folks, long-term residents in Smith Falls. And it will also include the closure of Daniel Street. We have passed the bylaw in accordance with our own policy for conducting public meetings, and we have not received any objection in the matter. And I understand that